What do you do with those tasks and little bits of information that come your way, especially when you're out of your office? That's what we're talking about today. Hi, this is Frank Buck, and this is the place to be if you want to get organized and make it look easy. If you stay with me to the end of this video, I'm going to give you a simple workflow. But we're going to start by showing you a couple of things, showing you a huge monkey wrench, and then showing you how I'm making lemonade from the lemon I've just been thrown. So first of all, I want to tell you I'm a big fan of voice input. It's a whole lot easier to speak a task or speak a bit of information into my digital devices than it is to type it. So let me demonstrate something here on my watch. I'm going to hit the button to invoke Google Assistant. Friday, call Jim about the XYZ report.
Thanks, Frank. I'll add this to remember the milk for Friday. By the way, there will be some upcoming changes to this IFTTT integration. See the Google Assistant Help Center to learn more.
We kind of heard a little dissertation there. Normally, it would have just said that, it was adding it to remember the milk for Friday. So basically, what's happened is that this task that I just spoke into my watch has now gone into remember the milk. I can see it from all of my connected devices. Now, as far as the rest of that message, that's the little monkey wrench that we're going to get to. So you just saw that I could add a task with my watch. Let me show you how I could also do it from my phone, and that message is going to be a little louder. So without the phone even being awake, okay, Google, Monday, send Brad an invitation to the picnic.
Thanks, Frank. I'll add this to remember the milk for Monday. By the way, there will be some upcoming changes to this IFTTT integration. See the Google Assistant Help Center to learn more.
All right, so on Monday, I look at Remember the Milk, and there's going to be a task for me to send Brad this invitation. You saw me do that on Remember the Milk, but I could have done that on any digital task manager, provided that it integrates with if this, then that. More on that in a moment. Let me show you one more thing. It's Frank's Journal. So what's Frank's Journal? Glad you asked. It's a single note in Evernote where I log short entries. These are bits of information, usually only a line long, for which I don't want to create an entire new note. Evernote has a keyboard shortcut that inserts a date or time stamp, so it's easy to record exactly when the entry was made. And to add to this note, I can always go to it manually, scroll to the bottom of the note, and add what I need to add. But watch this. Okay, Google, Frank's Journal, this is a test.
Okay, Frank, I'll add this to your journal. By the way, there will be some upcoming changes to this IFTTT integration. See the Google Assistant Help Center to learn more.
Oh boy, are there going to be some upcoming changes? More on that soon. Now, let's look what just happened. When we go into Evernote and go to that note, Frank's Journal, a new entry has been appended to the bottom, and it's automatically date and time stamped. Imagine what this has just given you. You could easily log interactions that you're having with people during the day. You could log major news stories breaking during the day. You could log your time by just telling your phone or your watch or your smart speaker what you're doing right then. And if you wanted to emulate a bullet journal digitally, to me, this is the rapid logging aspect right here. I even did a video on this concept, and you can view it right here. And if you're wondering how I got all this set up, I'm going to show you, but don't get too excited because it all goes away at the end of August 2022. You may have noticed when I added those items, I got a voice confirmation, but you also got that little interesting warning. I got an email. This email is from If This Then That, and it talks about changes initiated by Google regarding Google Assistant. In particular, this is the part that impacts me. Here's what that means. Currently, I can say a trigger word followed by anything else, and Google will perform an action. You heard me do that. Friday was the trigger word that caused the task to be created for Friday. For those of you familiar with if this then that, I created an applet that uses Google Assistant's say a phrase with the text ingredient trigger and create a new task and remember the milk for the result. For those familiar with remember the milk, you can see the caret followed by the word Friday. That's what's causing the due date to be Friday. And the exclamation 2 assigns a priority of 2. And as you might have guessed, I created a similar applet for each day of the week. For example, I can say, okay, Google, Sunday, and whatever I say after that becomes a task with a due date of Sunday. But again, this all goes away at the end of the month. Here's how I use if this then that to be able to speak a bit of information and have it added to the bottom of Frank's journal in Evernote. So here's what I'm going to do, and what you may want to consider doing if you've been following my work closely, and if what's impacting me is also going to be impacting you. As of now, it looks like the easiest thing for us to do when entering tasks into Remember the Milk is use the widget that's on the home screen. I'm also going to be using it as a way to trap all of those little bits of information that I would be putting in Frank's journal. That's sort of like going to be the memo pad that you might keep in your pocket to jot down both actions and information. So it's all going one place, and we're going to sift it out later. The Remember the Milk widget is available to those who have the paid plan. I want to make that clear. Also, the ability to use Remember the Milk with if this then that is only available to users of the paid Remember the Milk plan. Now let's talk about all those little bits of information that need to go in Frank's journal over in Evernote. So suppose my wife and I are eating out and get really good service from a particular employee. That's good reference information to have the next time we visit. Maybe we want to ask for her again. It might also be an action item. Maybe we want to call the manager to brag on the server. Regardless, I hit the microphone on the widget and say, Longhorn Steakhouse, great service from Callie. That information is now in my Remember the Milk inbox. Let's say the manager happens to come by our table and offers a free dessert on the house next time we visit. Wow, I want to document that, the date, the person's name, and the promise, so that next time I visit that restaurant and mention my free dessert, I'll actually get it. Now, let's say that I'm also having trouble with my internet service. It's up and it's down, so I want to make a record of when it goes down and when it comes back up. I can speak any of that into Remember the Milk. So now I've got 4 items that I've gotten into my system. I don't have to remember them. I don't have to think about them. When I look at the Remember the Milk inbox, there's my trigger to do something with them. And that something I want to do with them is put them in Frank's journal. So how are we going to do that? Let's return to if this then that and see what our options are. I create a new applet and choose Remember the Milk as the trigger. And I have these options. I see one that looks promising, task tagged. This applet fires when a task is tagged with the specified tag. So I quickly go to Remember the Milk and create a new tag. I call it Journal. Now I'm ready to compose the applet in if this then that. I want the trigger to look like this. And for the action, I'm going to choose Evernote. From the possible actions, I'm going to choose Append to Note. Be sure to save the applet. Now I'm looking at my Remember the Milk inbox. I'm going to tag all 4 of these items with that journal tag. So to do that, in Remember the Milk, I put a check mark beside each of the items. In this particular piece of software, a checkbox selects the item rather than marking it as done. With the 4 items checked, I select the tag icon and select Journal. Remember the Milk has some great keyboard shortcuts, and since I use tags a great deal, I've simply memorized that the letter S selects tags, and since I have only one tag that starts with the letter J, I can hit S, J, enter, and all 4 items are now tagged. Now, let's go over to Evernote to that Frank's Journal note. At the bottom are the 4 items I had tagged. Now, on Remember the Milk, I can either take any needed action, or if there is no action, I can delete those 4. So here's my workflow. Whether it's an action item or a little piece of information, it all goes in Remember the Milk as a new task. When I review my Remember the Milk inbox, if it's reference information, tag it Journal. If there's no action on the item, I can then delete them from my task manager. I hope this helps you. If what you've seen here appeals to you, I would suggest rewinding the video some and watch to see exactly how I created those if this then that applets. And then from there, your workflow is very simple. Whether it's a new task or just a little piece of reference information, it's all going to go the same place. Use your voice to input it into your digital task manager. Then later, when you look at the inbox, if it's something to do it, or schedule a day for it to be done. If it's reference information that needs to go over into that journal over in Evernote, just tag it appropriately. Let if this then that, put it over there. There's no action on it, then delete it from your digital task manager. We want this to be easy. Doing the little bit of setup that we've talked about is going to make the day-to-day very easy. Thanks for stopping by. And if you like this video, I think you'll like these 2 right over here. Take a look at them and consider subscribing to the channel for more videos. This has been Frank Buck helping you get organized and make it look easy.